Hey, it's your girl Danny Cole here to help you break down the cultures deep rooted in trauma because it is that deep. And today we're going to be talking about understanding self, because before we get into other relationship stuff, it's like you can't have a healthy relationship if you don't understand self, because it's just going to lead to so many breakdowns. It's just going to lead to you not understanding what you need, because how would you know the type of person you need if you don't even know yourself? If you don't know yourself, how would you know someone that is going to add value to you or someone that is going to complement you along your journey? And the thing is, a lot of us weren't really taught how to do it. We weren't taught how to evaluate ourselves, but I'm here to teach that. And one thing that for me has helped me so much is understanding that I'm going to fall short. Not in a sense where I'm making mistakes for myself, but in a sense where, because I know I'm going to fall short sometimes, when I evaluate, when someone says something about me that I think that, it might actually be a weakness of mine. I'm not saying that I take everything that anyone says as thing, but if it might be a weakness of mine, first of all, I seek the counsel around me. So the people around me whose opinions I value, which is most of them, I go to them to say that, is this a trait that you've seen within me? And then I also look within myself to see, but then it's good to get other perspectives as well. And if it's a yes, then it's like, okay, this is something I need to work on. So I'll say even the first thing, one of the first things is the people you have around you. Do you value their input? Do they help you grow and elevate? Do they pour into you as well? Because when all else fails, those are the people that you're going to have to lean on. Do that. Those are the people that you're going to have to lean on. And you don't want to have people whose opinions you don't trust or whose advice you wouldn't want to take, because they're not the type of people, they're not living the life that you would want to live, or they're not going a certain way that you like, if that makes sense. Another thing is, sorry, I got my phone here because I got a list of stuff. What are your values? And not just what are your values, how do you show up within your values? Because a lot of the times we might say that, I value integrity, I value honesty, I value openness, but do you show that? Do you embody your values? Because that is something that I had to be real with myself. Certain values, I wasn't fully embodying it. Like, I value integrity, but at times, because, and it's not even an excuse, I wasn't being integral with actually speaking my truth and being real with people, because I didn't want to be judged, or I didn't want people's perception of me to change, because they would have thought that, I wasn't equipped enough to do certain things. And when I started to realize that your values are not just words, they are actually actions. They're actionable things you do. So when you're looking at your values, how do you show that you embody the values that you have? And do you even show that? And if you don't, there's work to be done. Like, when it comes to family and relationships with like friends and stuff, how do you show that you value that? Do you make time for it? Because it's something that we easily overlook. And a lot of us like this low maintenance friendship. But because you've had so many low maintenance friendship, you don't even actually know how you fully show up within a relationship, because you're able to maintain the relationship but keep it as at arm's length. So you might think that, you're going to be a great person in a relationship, but within your friendships, it's easy to hide who you truly are and how you truly show up. So now when you enter a relationship where we're committed, we're talking almost every day, we are literally, you're my person, so you're seeing my flaws and everything. Now you're getting more, the true you is getting exposed, because now you can't fully hide, or you can hide for a little bit, but it's going to come out. And that's the thing. When we actually, I'm not saying make your whole life your relationships, but when we actually show up within our relationships fully, first with our friends and family, it shows us who we are before even getting to the relationship stage. But I feel like now, because of social media, it's easy to maintain a relationship without a lot of depth, without a lot of substance, because it's like, oh, we're sending memes every day, we're talking every day, but we're not really. I don't really know what's going on with you. That is actually one of my goals to improve this year as well. My relationships with the people around me, friends, like people that pour into me as well, because that is having that community, which is something that, because I value community, you can't just value community and just be there. You have to actually build it up. You have to actually invest into that community as well. So that is one of the things, the people that you have around you, because they have your ear. Whatever you listen to influences you. Whatever influences you has power over you, because it has power to change your mindset, how you think as well. So whoever has your ear, low-key controls your mind in a sense, because the more you're exposed to it, the more you start to align with a certain sort of thinking. Another thing, how do you want to be loved? A lot of people might not actually, not that they don't know, but they haven't fully understood how they'd like to be loved. So now you can't communicate that, or communicate what you're expecting, or you're scared of communicating it because it might chase someone away. But when you look at how you like to be loved, now you have a guide to see if someone is in alignment with you. So if they make the effort, or if they show love the way you like to be loved, the things that, and it's not just feeling that, oh, I love this person or this person loves me. What things do they do to make you feel heard? What things do they do to make you feel seen? What things do they do to make you feel valued? And do they make you feel like you are important? Do they take the time to understand you, who you truly are, and what you really need? Because those are the basis for someone actually taking the time and being intentional about you. That is how you start to understand how you want to be loved and how you receive love. Because just feeling love for someone, sometimes, more time, is infatuation when we deep it. The person has not really shown us that they love us. Or they've done little nice things here and there, but it's common decency, is the bare minimum. Another thing, what are your non-negotiables? Having a think and writing it down, especially for my people-pleasing babes. Come here. We need to write down what our non-negotiables are. And if you don't know what your non-negotiables are, I'll say do a deep dive into understanding the things that make you feel disrespected, make you feel unvalued, make you feel unloved, unheard, and unseen. Those are your non-negotiables. Those are the bare minimum. And I wouldn't say don't communicate it, but I'll say that if you do communicate it once, and because that's the bare minimum. I heard someone say that your bare minimum is someone else's maximum. So if you don't remove yourself from that situation where you see that your minimum is someone else's maximum, you're going to be crying the whole ride. Because for them, it's like, I'm putting out maximum effort, even though it's still bare minimum. But for you, that is not your standard, because you're on different journeys. There's no alignment there. So there's always going to be chaos with that. Writing down your non-negotiables is a given. How does the person elevate you as well? Show love. I think that goes into how you want to be shown love. How does the person add value to you? And it doesn't always have to be in an elaborate way. It can be through the little things. It can be how they pull you up on things. It could be how they actually might motivate you to do certain things. Because someone that truly loves you would always want to see you do better, would always want to see you succeed. Another big thing about understanding self is understanding your traumas and your triggers. And these are important because These might be behind the reason behind a lot of unexplained behavior that would be like self-sabotaging or self-destructive behaviors. And if you don't understand what your triggers are, your partner might have certain traits that might trigger you. And because you have never communicated that, they might think you're acting irrationally. But if you communicate that, okay, when things are done a certain way, so if I ask you to do something and you don't do it there and then, it triggers me because this is how I grew up in a certain household and that's how we do things. Okay, so now we need to have a conversation to get to a compromise. It's not that I'm not listening to you or I've not heard you, but I might do things a certain way, but I'll get it done. But let me now communicate to you a certain time period within which it's going to get done. And then now there's a healthy communication. Now she's not going to feel like, he's just not listening to me and he's just doing things how he wants to do it. Now she's feeling like, okay, I actually feel heard, I actually feel seen. And you're not going to go into the thing of hyper independence where it's like, I'm just going to do everything myself because you never listen to me, you never actually take in what I do, what I say properly. And when it comes to understanding triggers, it's understand, communicate. What am I saying right now? Understand, communicate, alleviate. Hey, that's hard. So after you communicate your boundary, not everyone is going to respect it, but that just shows you who is the person that is committed enough to you to actually value your happiness, to value the things that tick you off, to not do them as well. And are you within yourself, who you are and how you show up? Because when we start to understand that, we start to understand our identity outside of things that we do and how people see us. We start to have that true unwavering self-confidence with anything that we do because we understand our value. How much do you understand your value and what you're capable of? Because this can really it can really hold you back when you don't understand that. And when that thing that you put your value inside is taken away, now you feel lost. Now you feel like your life is over and now you feel like you're not valuable enough. What do you identify yourself with? And who are you outside of the things that you regularly do? Outside of your job, outside of being seen as a good sister, wife, brother, uncle, husband, who are you? And when you start to understand your character and how you actually show up, that's who you are. And when you start to identify more with that, you start to identify less with the external gratification, with the external validation, because now you know that the value that you have is within you and you have enough power to change your circumstance and to change anything else that might be holding you back. So whatever you put your mind to, you can bring into fruition. But whenever you don't understand that, it's easy to get into a relationship and become codependent. So now your whole life is your relationship. You're not an individual. You're just somebody's girlfriend or somebody's boyfriend or somebody's wife and somebody's husband and not yourself. How do you do things to make you happy? What type of things make you happy? And how do they bring you joy? What do they make you feel? And also, how do you show up uniquely as you? When you start to understand these little things, you start to realize who you are. How do you show up as your values as well? I'll say definitely, if you have the time, write down what your values are, why they are your values, and how you show up with them. And when you write down why you have certain values, a lot of the time it will come from past experiences as well. And sometimes they might help you unearth why you might show up a certain way. So it's like asking the why behind the why. Having that true self-confidence is just like one of the biggest superpowers. Rejection is not going to be your mate. The fear of rejection is not going to be your mate. We always have a little bit of fear, but it's not going to overpower you with the things that you're doing. It's not going to cripple you, because now you're going to understand that not everything's for me, and that is okay. It's going to be easier for you to leave toxic situations because you realize rejection is redirection. Is redirection for something better, is redirection for realignment. Because if this person was truly for me, there would be signs. There would be a common understanding. They will complement me. And sometimes that person might be for you, but just not within the season. But that's another conversation. And when it comes to communication, not jump into conclusion. I think that kind of goes back to confrontation, because when we actually speak up about the little things, we alleviate big things. We alleviate them becoming big things because we've addressed it once it comes up. So now I'm not having to assume certain things because I'm clued up on what's actually going on. And what was I talking about before? I actually lost my train of thought of what I started talking about. But let's go on with the confrontation. How well do you take criticism? And how does it make you feel when someone criticizes you? When was your earliest moments with when someone has criticized you, and how did they make you feel? This is for someone that struggles with receiving criticism or any negative feedback, to help you unearth where that comes from. And also asking, were you hyper criticized as a child, and how did that make you feel? Who hyper criticized you, and what did that make you feel about yourself as well? Also, how did you see the adults in your life handle confrontation, handle conflict and criticism? And then what else when it comes to confrontation? Understanding your confrontation style, like understanding how you deal with problems. Are you someone that tends to, okay, I need some space before addressing a problem? Or are you someone that is like, now we need to talk about it here and then? When you write down these little things and you have the understanding of yourself, of how you show up with these little things, now you can communicate it and see how the other person also deals with it. So now you're clear. You're not thinking that they're neglecting you when they need space before they come back to the problem, because they need to process. Some people need to process things. And then also, how do you deal with of being overwhelmed with feeling big emotions? What do you do when you start to feel big emotions? How do you deal with other people when they're overwhelmed? Because there's certain people that are uncomfortable with other people feeling big emotions. So it might feel like they don't care, or that they're just ignoring you, but genuinely it makes them uncomfortable. So when you have that type of situation, it's understanding that they might need to maybe withdraw, but then also a thing where it's something that they can work on how to show up with someone that's feeling big emotions, and seeing that, you know what, they're just overwhelmed within this moment. They just need me to be there. They just need me to be present as well. So when you start to understand these little things about yourself, but then not just that, understand these little things about the other person as well, you can see whether you're in alignment and whether you can show up for them the way they need to be showed up for, and whether they can show up for you the way you need to be showed up for, because you understand the little things. You understand the things that make you or them feel valued. And then when it comes to accountability as well, how well are you at keeping yourself accountable? I don't mean just saying that, you know what, I made a mistake, I put my hands up. I mean, how well are you at making sure that you're sticking to your commitments? How well are you at, hey, how well, is it how good? I think it's how good that you are showing that you actually follow through with your word to yourself and to other people as well. Do you have systems in place? Do you have people that hold you accountable? Do you have a checklist in case you might be forgetful? How structured are you with your days, with your weeks, with your life? Because structure is everything. Structure is the backbone. That's why it's like you have to be intentional about who you're giving your time to when it comes to relationships. You have to be intentional about the important things when it comes to actually understanding the person that you want to be with. And you have to be intentional about understanding whether the person is a right fit for you. I'm not saying that you have to be exactly the same person into exactly the same things, but when it comes to core values and character, are you in alignment? If not, you need to reassess. Are there boundaries within your relationship? Is there a certain standard that you both need to meet within the relationship? And how do you deal with the downtimes when they come? Have you discussed that ahead of time as well? Because if you have a system in place or you have something in place and you understand how one another shows up when the tough times come, it's easier to deal with it than not having anything in place. Problem wahala don't come now. Everyone is just heightened emotions. There's no way to resolve it. Everyone is trying to get heard, so now no one is actually being heard. So yeah, that's been my rant for today. Guys, make sure you like, comment and subscribe for more things personal development, mental health, life, relationship. Not that I'm a relationship coach or nothing, but it's more things that as I'm on my journey, these are the things that I'm learning. So I'm just sharing with other people that want to learn as well about how to be in a healthy relationship. And it's from stuff from mental health perspective, but then also stuff from married couples that I've seen that I feel like they have a healthy relationship that I would like to adopt as well. So peace out.